Hello, this is my third Friday sews. Here I am again, and I'm having one of those weeks where everything I do on my project, I make like a silly mistake or something live on camera. And it's like nothing you can do can kind of prevent it. It just keeps happening. And one time I jokingly, like, I think I had a friend, I think I had a roommate, that's what it was. A roommate told me that it's the something fairy. And for me, it's the sewing fairy. So, and I fully believe in this because I'm telling you, sometimes, like when your bobbin keeps like not picking up or your thread keeps coming unthreaded, you just can't get going. And then you finally get everything going and you start sewing and everything. And then you've made like a big, obvious, major mistake. That was the sewing fairy telling you that you needed to fix that before you made the mistake. She was trying, like she was like preventing you from sewing, and that keeps happening to me on this project. And I finally figured it out after my stream today. I'm making the Yanta overalls this week, and here, I'll just show you what they look like right now. Yeah, so here's my Yanta overalls. We got really far today sewing them, but I have done the silliest thing. So when we were doing the cutting stream, I could not figure out why the facing wasn't going to fit on there. And I was like, what's going on with this pattern? I know the pattern's okay. Completely forgot there's a center seam. So something like that. I did that in the cutting stream. And then today I was about to stitch my pocket on. I was fully going to stitch my facing around. And then I was just so eager to kind of try and follow the instructions kind of in the same order so people can follow that along when they sew it. And I got kind of excited I love top stitching, so I was like excited to sew the bib, and then someone was casually said, so how are you going to top stitch your facing down if your bib's pocket's there? Of course, yeah. So I decided I'm not going to stitch the facing down, so this is okay. But then I made these cutaway pockets, fully forgetting that there's the option of putting a side zip in these. So yes, side zippers is possible, but now I've kind of made the possibility a little trickier, and I was kind of hoping to do it so I could help people out. I also had top stitched the pocket in green, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And I designed a new fabric. It says it has pockets on it. And I finally got my sample, so I was really excited, and that's why I modified this pattern to have this little cutaway pocket so I could use my new pocket lining. So I was so excited. And then I sewed them on so that the pocket lining was facing the garment, so I would never even be able to enjoy it every time I saw the inside of my garment. So lastly, this is actually probably not lastly, I think I did a few other things too. I stitched down the middle of my pocket, and that one, I don't think that was a mistake, but I just decided to take that out. So I just finished sitting there watching Gilmore Girls, eating the salt and pepper pretzels, and taking out all the stitching, the overlocking, the pocket facing. I flipped them over, fixed it all. You think I'm about to tell you something bad happened, but I'm not. I'm about to tell you that now me and the sewing fairy I think are on good terms, so when I go to finish these, it's going to be okay. So hopefully I have that to report back to you. And I took out the stitching here, so I'm ready. And they're looking really cute. I even tried them on. I really don't need the side zip. I know you can't really see them on this, but I just wanted to share with you that I'm having one of those weeks for every little thing. And I feel like I passed the point of live streaming where I worry people don't think I know what I'm doing, because I just don't care anymore. Like, I know what I'm doing, and we all make mistakes, and that's just how it is. And so that's just a part of the process, in my opinion. And if people aren't down for seeing that process, that's okay. Like, there's plenty of other people, right, that they can watch. So anyway, that's where I'm at with my sewing this week. That's the project I've been working on. Plus, I'm just trying to get caught up with other little things, and I've been working on this series, and I kind of got one more of those out. But I did want to answer some of your questions about how to pick out a ripe watermelon. So I actually went to the store and I looked for them. They only have the little mini seedless ones, and that's just, I don't buy those. That's not even a single serving for me. Like, I can eat way more than that. I even thought about like cutting one up for you guys so you could see how I do it, because I cut the whole thing up and I put it in a container, and that lives in the fridge. So it's just ready to go. So here's a few tips about watermelon. So that little like that buttery yellow spot on the watermelon, and they always rotate all the watermelons on the stand so you can't see it. That is the spot you're looking for. You're looking for that yellow spot, and a nice buttery yellow spot is better. So there's different also varieties of watermelons. So there's those like solid green ones, and then there's ones with like two-tone green stripes, and you just gotta pick the variety you like. I always opt for seedless, and I feel like as a kid there was never that option. It was very exotic, and now it's like you can't even find a non-seedless watermelon. So it's probably one of the produce items I don't even buy organic because it's kind of hard to find. Now it's becoming more commonplace. The other thing you want is a heavy watermelon. So one that's really heavy is a good thing. Another interesting tip about them is that they don't ripen past the point of being picked. So don't pick something that you're like, well, this will be perfect for 4th of July next week. Like that doesn't matter. But I do find that when you pick it, you could put it in the fridge if you're not going to cut it open right away. And that'd probably be a good thing. Obviously, like the flavor of any fruit is better at warm temperature. But we, like around here it's so hot, we couldn't even have a peach on the counter for a couple of days. It would start molding because there's probably a pinprick on it somewhere, right? And you can't see it. So we put all of our fruit and everything in the fridge. So with a watermelon, I always slice it up. I slice it down the middle, and then I slice it again. And I kind of get like these like big wedges, rounded wedges and chunks. And then I slice that in the watermelon, and then I slice and scoop it out so that I have lots of little triangles. I even slice down the middle, and I have a bunch of triangles, and then I have the perfect little Tupperware container that fits a watermelon this size, and then I stack it all in there. And I have a container at work, big container at home, and every couple days, it lasts for about like, for me, I can do it in about 5 or 6 days, so it's usually I'm eating like one per week, but I pour off that juice that kind of accumulates at the bottom, like the really juicy ones, they really fill up. Get rid of that juice. I feel like that doesn't help the watermelon out. So those are my tips. That, like the whole like thumping it and the blossom end, that's not as very important. Hopefully I'm showing you a picture on the screen too of some hints and tips, but let me know how it goes, and you'll get better at it, I promise. And I know there are some bad watermelons, and I meet a lot of people that are just like, I just never really liked watermelon. And I'm pretty convinced that for a lot of people, they haven't had a really good one or a ripe one. And I just think it's just kind of tough sometimes because they're kind of a mysterious fruit. You can't like smell them or feel them, it's just like this. It's like looking at an egg, so, but we know eggs already. So, all right. Well, I think like sewing wise, for my stream and for me in particular, I've been shopping around for a new serger and new cover stitch, and I really love that a lot of the Friday sews people talk about those because I think I've been kind of like in denial that I need to get another one. My machine's a good machine. I have a Baby Lock Evolve. I've had it a while. Probably, I feel like I got it before my daughter was born. Pretty sure I did, and maybe it was right after, and she's 18, so that's what we're talking about. I used to use it for prototyping and everything like that for my business when I did pattern drafting for people, and it was great because I can switch between the overlocking and the cover stitch. Now I just don't feel like it's as reliable, so I'm looking for something else. People have been giving me really great hints, and I'm kind of think I'm leaning towards a Juki, and then and then a standalone cover stitch, so 2 separate machines. That's one thing. I've also been trying to crowdsource jeans patterns, and I've gotten so many amazing, like comments. I posted in my Instagram story, an Instagram post, and on YouTube I posted a little like on the community tab, and it's been really great to do that. And if you want to tell me a jeans pattern you know of, write it. If you find that on my community tab, like across the top of the page, I'd love it because it's all in one place. You can write it in the comments here too. That's fine. I've already made, I think, 7 women's jeans patterns and 1 men's. And I'm just kind of on a quest to make as many as possible. But I also want to prioritize, some, because some I'm like, not so much, I don't really want to do that. And there's some that are incredibly well supported with videos and things like that, so I don't really feel like I need to even go there. Like, that's awesome, they have their own thing. I'm not trying to compete. I'm not even trying to make money doing this. I just want to help people. So that's one of the things that I'm been looking for. And so it's been actually really enlightening and seeing all the different jeans patterns. And I found a really great compilation list online, and it looks like they update it. I'll try and link that in the description if I can find it again, because I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm looking at that. And then other things I'm kind of thinking about are, summer's coming. It's very hot where I live. I really love to wear shorts under my dresses because like I said, I don't like my legs to touch at all. And like right now I'm wearing a dress and I'm wearing these like baby rib wool merino shorts. And I like them because they're super, super thin. They go all the way up to my waist. Because I have a bunch of like workout shorts that I've lopped the bottoms off, and I don't even hem them because they're softer and thinner when I don't hem them. But I feel like the waistbands are a little too chunky, so I want things that are a little lower profile. So I think I'm on the hunt for that. I'm going to make myself some base layer garments. All I have is black too, and I would really like some light colors. Just like a few pairs, And fire season is coming, and we evacuate regularly. I know it sounds so crazy, but we do. Usually just out of precaution because we have pets, and the smoke gets really bad. So I want to make a portable litter box. My stream has heard me talk about this for like months now, but I'm kind of getting to the point where fire season's coming, so I'm thinking about that. And I want to make it just so that I can lift it up and just carry it to my parents because, I don't know, it just sounds like a fun idea. And just in general, like when I have a new cover stitch and serger, I'm really thinking about all the knitwear and base layer garments that I'd really like to do. I'd like to do some new workout wear and maybe some new camisoles and things. And the thing is, I do sew those already using my industrial, and I'm fine with that. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind having the serger and the cover stitch because I know there's folks out there that would really like to see that as well. And I've done that a lot, so it would be fun to do that. And I know that for some people, it probably bugs them that I use a single needle machine on my knits and things. But, it works really well for a lot of the applications that I'm using it for. And I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong with that, since cover stitches and sergers haven't existed for that long. Knits existed before them, and they were using zigzag and single needle machines to sew it together. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not conventional these days, and I don't mind at all sewing things the conventional way. So I think that'll be great. So because I'm kind of excited to have some new, garments and have a whole nother genre of sewing to do. It'll be really fun. So yeah. That's the things I'm thinking about these days, sewing-wise. And hopefully the sewing fairy and I are on better terms. And I think the last thing I'm going to start working on more is doing more pattern drafting videos and things like that, because that's my background. And I'm think I'm going to really look for a pants form, but maybe even a half-size pants form that I can have on a tabletop for doing pants fitting and things like that. One of the interesting things that I forget about my training versus the home sewing world, because I actually haven't been like employed or working or doing like anything as a business in the home sewing world ever, really. I've always worked in other parts of the industry. And one thing that really strikes me as interesting is how when I started really paying attention to the sewing world, I heard all these terms like FBA and full bicep adjustment and, forward shoulder and adjustment, small sleeve, all these little like terms. And I was actually really good at pattern drafting. I still am, but I did that. Like that was my thing. That's my thing I excel at. I excel at pattern drafting far more than I do at design. I really like pattern drafting. I like designing through pattern drafting. And most good designers do, rather than just like, people think you just do a sketch and hand it off, and that's just not how it really works. And it's really weird when it does go down like that, because it's a whole nother thing to talk about. But generally speaking, I really like doing it through the pattern and the functionality and thinking about that. And the thing is, in design school, which I did a long time ago, we didn't talk about FBA, like that, I'd never heard that term before until I started sewing with and listening to, following home sewists and things like that, and kind of seeing what was going on. And I thought, why don't I know these things? And it's because, of course, college was geared towards working for a company. We didn't do custom stuff, and home sewing is custom. And that's been really cool, because when I see what they do, I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. We just didn't call it that. And there just weren't those terms. There weren't those labels for it. And so I want to do a whole series of videos on things like that. And I'm learning still what the names for all those things are. I know it sounds really funny, but it's just how it is. You know, we had to make those adjustments based on how it fit the fit model and how it was in line with our size chart for the company, because you have to hit these certain targets because that's what your customers are expecting. And you do have these not standard, I don't want to say that because that word's loaded and that's not what I'm trying to say. We had these regular fit models that would come, and you know, they had to fit, they were like one of every size, you know, or maybe they jump around a little bit, and then we would try on our garments, and it had to fall within that tolerance that we wanted on every single person, because you're trying to fit an entire population in these like narrow confines of measurements. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen like 4 people who measure the exact same thing standing next to each other, and they can be drastically different looking. So you kind of have to accommodate for that. And that's one of the things that, you know, you do in custom and home sewing just without thinking in one way, and on the other way you think about it constantly. That's all we're doing, is trying to fit ourselves perfectly and come up with solutions for each other. So I'm kind of looking forward to kind of adding a lot more of that to my channel. So anyway, that's what I'm up to this week. I hope you guys are all doing good. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.